Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff, and we are going to deep dive headfirst into the shallow end for maximum impact, as Chip likes to say. XRP and global politics collide. What is that all about? Tonight on the chain, Ripple takes center stage at the XRP Seoul 2025. That's exciting. I wish I would have waited a month and I could have been there. Ghostface and Infanger lead the charge as the Vault cap is shattered, opening the floodgates for yield and all sorts of great rewards. Meanwhile, the world burns hotter. Senate Leader John Thune threatens the nuclear option. What is that about? Vance defends masculinity. Vivek builds a coalition in Ohio. Elon Musk warns of mass immigration. Canada's demographics explode, and Trump rallies echo from Brazil to DC. This is where crypto meets geopolitics, XRP meets global power. This is On the Chain. And guess what? It's all getting ready to start right about now. Welcome. Good to see everybody here. Give a quick shout out where you are tuning in from. What part of the country, what part of the world are you coming to On the Chain from? We do have global viewers from shore to shore, coast to coast, continent to continent, wherever you might be tuning in from, all over the place. So it's really, really great. I love that, Bradley. Crypto is geopolitics for the next 10 years at least. So we're going to get a lot of geopolitics. If you don't understand the geopolitics, then you're right. You probably won't understand the crypto. Tuning in, Bradley's tuning in from from Detroit. We get up to Detroit. A lot of history in Detroit. We have tons of, it's interesting. A lot of viewers in Michigan, lots of viewers in Florida, coast to coast, just all over. Blood Moon starts at 8 a.m. That's going to be interesting to tune into. There was an amazing sunset tonight as well. A lot of things going on. So what I wanted to jump into first and foremost, and actually we have another epic song and video to roll out here in a little bit. You guys know where that's coming in. Yusuf coming in from early morning from the UK. What is up, Yusuf? Good to see you here with us. I want to get into Flare. We talked about Flare for the past couple shows, and Flare just keeps hitting it out of the park. There just seems to be a lot of news coming out of Flare lately, and so we need to cover it. We need to talk about it. We need to see what's going on. I'm just going to go article by article, not in any specific order, but here you go. Flare Networks. Flare building the rails for the next generation of developers. One hackathon, one city at a time. Harvard, we're coming to you next. And there you go, Flare. And that's great. If you can do the hackathon and you go after all the different developers and you can start really, getting the idea of crypto in front of the developers. If you can get the idea of these developers tie in with Flare, Flare is on to some big things, and we need to make sure that we stay on the forefront to see exactly where Flare is going with all of that. So let's pull up the next one. And I like this. I love seeing, these are all current posts that just came up. This one, composability is capital efficiency. One token, multiple use cases on Flare. XRP plugs into all kinds of DeFi opportunities, and that's how scale happens. And if we blow this up, maybe we need to shrink it down. See if we can, it's a little blurred, but we got the firelight, all sorts of amazing things. XRP tied into there. There's the Flare F assets, user deposit withdrawal, and look at just how it just plugs in seamlessly into a lot of great things that will be happening here and into the near future. So, Bradley, what do you got here? Flare bag holder since the Spark days. That's great. Last drop is coming up in February. That's right. And then we'll see, potentially some more movement within Flare. Let's see what happens with Flare. I want to see more development. I think price movement comes from utility. Utility comes from everything that they're doing right now, getting this in front of developers and seeing some of the exciting components of these massive rollouts, and just how they're getting more into or in front of institutions, similar to the trajectory that Ripple had gone. XRP, it's obviously becoming more of a household name amongst institutions, and so there's some big players now, and we have big players, or that at least those that have become or are becoming big players on a global scale within the institution space. And Flare is the next one. So here we go. Google Cloud just highlighted Flare for spearheading innovation in verifiable AI and blockchain in its Intel TDX rollout. This is coming from Flare devs. Flare has been exploring how to turn confidential AI outputs into verifiable data for smart contracts. This is, again, more big news. Amazing how they can, turn and take all this kind of information, figure out what to do with it, turn it into verifiable data, plugging that into smart contracts. Definitely the next big thing that is going to gain big traction, I believe. I firmly believe financial institutions, B2B. I see smart contract in everyday life, and right now it's all kind of manually done, very, very clunky. Up until Flare, really the only other option for a smart contract would be Ethereum based. One of the key components of what Ethereum is known for, but still, from a real world use case, there's really not many players out there that are utilizing a smart contract in everyday transaction. So, but it's starting to gain that momentum once you put Flare into the once Flare gets more development, gets more foothold, then you have significant competition for what's going on with Ethereum. And I believe there'll be others. There have to be others that pop up. If they're on the right track, there's going to be competition. And I believe that they are. And I believe there's competitors coming. And maybe you guys know of some that you can plug in. But here, how can verifiable AI on-chain work on Flare? Inference runs inside a TE, then the enclave returns results plus a remote attestation proving the code and environment that ran. A Flare contract can verify the attestation and bind the result on chain, so dApps consume AI outputs with cryptographic provenance. I mean, to me, what's going to happen from an AI perspective with crypto, with DeFi, with blockchain, we haven't even seen like a fragment of what can happen, up to this point. So, we can only kind of guess and kind of envision where this thing is going. But I look at how fast AI has been developing over the past, couple of years, and it's staggering how fast it's growing. And now to see integration into blockchain, you look at one of the most recent news articles that dropped from what's his name over at, I hate to say that, I just what's the CEO of Salesforce? I don't know, I just kind of blanked on his name, but laying off 4,000 developers, mainly being replaced by AI, or 4,000 employees from Salesforce being replaced by AI. And we're probably going to see that trend pick up faster and further than we probably anticipated. Once you kind of plug that into the financial institution space, banking, how many people do you really need when you have blockchain, you have DeFi, and then you have AI assist? How many people within finance right now are going to be truly needed? How much fat is in the quote unquote productivity workflow that really isn't needed? So this is exciting to me to see how things are kind of taking root and developing in areas that are going to have major significance when it comes to real world. And so that is, to me, is what it's all about. It's utility, it's real world assessment, real world problem solving. If you have a solution and it cannot be applied to real world and there's not a real problem, then then you really have a problem, because then you have a solution in search of a problem, and that's a problem. You always want to have a solution that is solving an inherent problem, and not a solution just seeking for a problem. Then they have to invent the problem. So Bradley is saying Flare will be wrapping Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Dogecoin. That's right, and that's coming quick too. So I believe that, Flare definitely, one of the hidden gems out there. It's crazy too. I was looking at one of the comments on the video the other day, and we've been talking about Flare for a long time. We plug it, we talk about it, we talk about the positivity of the tech. And someone must have just heard like one little fragment of something that I brought up regarding the airdrop and how it kind of reverberated within the community. And that's all he heard. And he goes, "Oh, you don't understand Flare, and Flare's the next big thing." And I was like, "What? You obviously didn't listen to any of the rest of the video or commentary or anything prior to that." But, so many of us here, and all the intelligent viewers that we have been on and know, the direction that, with Flare technology, the possibilities are. But I wanted to play this. The reason why I wanted to play this video, I thought was really interesting, because this kind of goes to kind of exactly what we've been talking about. Why are institutions choosing Flare? Why are they looking specifically at this company? Why do they see all the tech stack? Why do they look at, exactly what's happening from a cross-chain interoperability? How is that key? So here, one of the most important aspects of a DAC company is you want to be able to grow your stack in the network, and that's Hugo Philon. So let's play this video. We'll play it until it's 3 minutes long. We'll play, some of it. I don't know if we'll play through the whole thing. Maybe I'll stop here in a minute, but I think this is really important to listen to this.
We are seeing some of these DAT companies, digital asset treasury companies out there, obviously Vivo being one of them, but you guys are doing something specific around yield generation. Can you talk about that?
So one of the most important aspects of a DAT company is you want to be able to grow your stake in the network. Let's say in this instance, it's XRP. You don't want to have to keep raising money in order to increase your position. You raise money when your equity value is higher than your net asset value. There's lots of routes to do it, but largely a lot of people have done offerings when their equity value is higher than their net asset value. But an alternative way to do it is if you have an asset that yields, you can convert that yield back into the currency of your choice. If you've got XRP and you can derive, let's say, 8%, then your treasury, your balance is increasing at 8% per year, which is a very good way to do it. So we were talking with Vivo Power. They like what Flare is doing. They like what Firelight is doing. They like our downstream DeFi ecosystem from staking. Mm-hmm. They decided to commit $100 million of XRP to the Flare ecosystem.
So do you feel like this is going to be one of the tool sets that institutional capital could come in and say, hey, this is a great example of how XRP can be put to work? Do you anticipate more companies kind of joining what Vivo is doing and starting to use Flare as the outlet?
Absolutely. Okay. We think that one of the larger sort of opportunities for Flare in the space is digital asset treasury companies like Vivo that hold XRP, and there are a few, but Vivo's one of the biggest, if not the biggest. But exchanges as well, because I think around 80% of people that hold XRP are holding their XRP on an exchange. And exchanges want to be able to offer their customers a way to get yield on the tokens they're holding. So, really our focus in business development around the DeFi ecosystem for XRP on Flare and for Firelight has been around courting exchanges. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, having other types of vaults, not Firelight. So one of the things that's quite nice.
So I want to pause that. You can see he's smart, going to the exchange, understanding the dynamic of the role the exchanges play. And it's interesting, 80% of holders are on exchanges. And I think, as we keep moving forward progressively, I believe that percentage will probably increase drastically, especially with the drop of the ETF. So look at that. 10 minutes. Man, I don't know what's up with YouTube, but YouTube definitely has, makes it difficult for people, to find the video, to get notification, and then to get loaded up in there. And Sir John was saying solutions created before the problems occurred are the solutions which are implemented. Pre-prepared is the key. As long as you know it's a problem, as long as there's a real problem in existence. If there's no real problem, then you have a solution that doesn't really do anything. But maybe you can forecast. You realize there's going to be a problem.
And a huge differentiator between the vaults that currently exist on XRP and the vaults that can exist on a smart contract chain like Flare is that the vaults for XRP naturally go and get their economic exposure through a centralized exchange. The problem with that is they have a counterparty risk. They have a counterparty risk with that centralized exchange, meaning if that centralized exchange goes bankrupt, then the money that that vault provider has put on that centralized exchange may be lost. And that's rather unpleasant, and we've seen that before. In fact, we've seen it many times in our industry. One of the things about vaults with regards to Flare DeFi, and there will be vault offerings for Flare DeFi specifically that are separate from Firelight. One of the things about vaults that can use Flare DeFi is those strategies can be carried out entirely on chain, and therefore you don't have the same exposure to the credit of the exchange. And this means that you're using a DEX, an on-chain lending protocol, an on-chain burst protocol. And so whilst there is still economic risk with regards to the markets, the price risk, or liquidation risk, you don't have the same risk, counterparty risk.
That's a big deal. Taking out the counterparty risk, and even having counterparty risk like that is the custodian. And like you were saying, we've seen multiple exchanges, Celsius being one of the bigger latest ones, that they're still doing payouts, back to people that had held Bitcoin and other assets, and it all came back in form of Bitcoin over on PayPal. I'm still getting payout from Celsius, and it's just incremental. And I think at the end of the day, based on whatever the valuation was at the point when they shut everything down, we're getting somewhere around 60 or 70% total back, and it might go up a little bit higher, but it was of the value at that time, not of today's value. So for them, obviously, as the valuation has gone up, but they're paying out in Bitcoin. So whatever their Bitcoin hold was, but then it was still tied back to value at the time. So it's based on, so it's kind of crazy, but at least there's, a little bit of light, from that. But this, what he's talking about, makes such a big impact to be able to and right now, if you're to utilize it, it's like you have to be tech savvy, figure out how to navigate everything, figure out what, where to go. If the exchange is able to offer this up and you can take advantage of it through the exchange without the risk of an exchange going belly up, to know that your asset is still protected, because you're taking your other risk. You can't have all this other risk and then also the counterparty potentially going belly up, and then all of a sudden, you lose everything. That just crazy, just real crazy. Yeah, 6 more free Flare drops. It's kind of exciting. I'm glad, going through all of it, they were able to launch it. People just didn't understand the dynamic of what the airdrop was, or, the significance of the Songbird, how critical that was to being able to show real use case, like real-time utility to work out the kinks. It's a real, they really thought through a lot of it. And, there was just a lot of, obviously, feedback from the community at the time. But let's just continue this a little bit.
And this is quite nice relative to the vaults that currently exist on XRP.
That's it. that was the end of it. So there you have it. Songbird to follow as the big boys want to experiment. That's it. Got it. You need to have the canary. You got to have the test. So if you have the test asset out there, then you can put it in real world scenario. It's a huge deal. Real huge deal. Zed, glad we're talking about Flare. I want to talk about Flare a lot more. We talk about XRP so much. kind of got, total burnout, talking about the lawsuit for all the years. Now we have to move on. There's a lot of development. We talked the other day kind of about, Ripple, what their focal point is with institutions, the significance of institutions, the significance of cross-chain, the significance of where the smart contract, the B2B play, financial institution, and beyond. Someone here was mentioning, oh, here we go. Karma was saying Flare might be the one to kick everything off, if not Ondo, real world asset, tokenized stocks, and ETFs. I think I'm trying to think if it was Citibank or Wells Fargo or one of the big banks was referencing tokenization as like the next massive move that's going to be taking place, and why stablecoin was so significant to everything that was happening. So tokenization, stablecoin, and we kind of moved from there. So all right, next one, here we go. Flare cross-chain interoperability. So let me pull this one up. Hang on 1 second. Pull this over here. Let me get rid of this video somehow. Why won't the video come down? Hang on a second. Okay. There we go. All right. Got rid of that. Pull this one over here. And let's bring this guy up. All right. Here we go. It's Flare. Flare Networks. Flare edges. Flare's edge lies in cross-chain interoperability and trustless real-world data. 100% spot on. The whole point, the whole, key behind what they're doing. If they didn't have cross-chain interoperability, what would they be doing? What would the significance of their project be? The whole point of the project is that they're taking the silos and they're saying, look, we don't care what chain you're on. We don't care if you have a smart contract on Ethereum. We don't care if it's Bitcoin. We don't care if it's Doge. We don't care if it's XRP. We don't care if whatever, comes next in the litany of in the lineup of chains that they can create a cross-chain environment for. The trustless world, real world sharing of data, or the trustless interconnect, between these different chains for business transaction and business. You can take it, to all levels, but that trust mechanism is so key. But now imagine if you're working 100% just in the Ethereum, and then you're working with another group, and yet they're all functioning on Flare. Now all of a sudden there's a break. Now how do you get from point A to point B? Well, you have a company that's focused on cross-chain interoperability functionality. That's how the world grows. You can't just have one. You have to create the cross-chain. Otherwise, then we're back to a Swift environment. Swift, the only one communication portal or language that kind of tied all banks together. Well, we need to get away from that. We need to step away from that siloed, thought process. And this is, again, 100%. So glad Flare shared this. Flare's edge lies in cross-chain interoperability, hands down, paired with XRP LTAC. And that's something else that we've talked about. So the fact that Flare can tie in with the XRPL, by far, probably one of the best chains, because it was so packed with technology, plus the fact that you can keep expanding on it based on a vote of the validators. And so the fact that you already had a DeFi, you already had FX, yet there's so much going on within the XRPL, all the technology that was already baked into it that they're able to tap into and use, super meaningful. So paired with XRPL tech, that means real solutions with real value. Again, that's what we said right in the beginning, right? Real solutions. So there's a problem out there. You have a real solution. That solution's providing real value. The reason why it has real value is because there's a real problem. So not just talk, building use cases at Harvard with XRPL Commons and Easy app. So there's, let's see what this one was all about. Hang on a minute. Let's just follow this here. So this was a news article from the other day. XRPL Commons, Flare, and EZA join forces at the Harvard Hackathon to unlock the next generation of DeFi and cross-chain finance. So, all right, well, we got to subscribe to be able to get in and view all that good stuff. So, or can we get out of it? Oh, we can get out of it. Oh, look at that. All right, perfect. Hang on a minute. So, XRPL comment, Flare, and EZA announced today a strategic collaboration focused on accelerating the growth of DeFi and cross-chain asset innovation on the XRP ledger, which is huge. The XRPL, operating securely at its scale for over a decade, is recognized as one of the most efficient and liquid blockchains in the world. That's what we just said. So everybody recognizes and identifies it. So what low cost, high speed settlement, inherent support for tokenization, and rapidly growing ecosystem of DeFi solution, XRPL remains a foundation for real world blockchain innovation. And its recent expansion with an EVM sidechain opens further composability and programmability. XRP is now rapidly evolving into a broader financial infrastructure. So you take the XRPL, you pair it with Flare, you pair it with all these, with some other functional product, and now here we go. By connecting XRPL's strength with Flare's decentralized oracles and interoperability protocols, builders at Harvard will explore such solutions. Everything that we were just talking about, tokenized asset, right, and real world asset. This is everything. This is the whole reason we can get excited about blockchain technology and the direction things are going, because it has to eventually be applied to real world asset. We have to move just beyond the moving of money. Moving of money is fun, but it's not the end all be all. Cross-chain finance, XRP liquidity backing lending, structured product, event-driven contracts enhanced through Flare proofs, composable infrastructure, designing dApps to leverage XRPL's liquidity and Flare's external data to bridge the gap between blockchain and the real world. Man, I'm fired up about this. I don't know about you guys, but to me, it's just really, really exciting to see, good news, positive news. We can look at the geopolitics. People say, oh my God, the world's coming to an end. We could have watched the lawsuit, for the past 3+ years. We could have seen the Biden administration and Gary Gensler just trying to crush crypto assets and blockchain companies left and right. And we had Elizabeth Warren and Gary Gensler that were doing everything they could to try to stop the development. But you know what? The people are too strong. The idea and notion of the technology was already out of the bag. And, there were some, key leaders in the space, and again, we can't, mock or step on any of the projects, because every one of them has had an integral part of the direction we've moved in, whether it was dancing bears and riddlers and all of that. We start with Bitcoin and think about Bitcoin had its own intrigue with the, who was the real Satoshi and the lawsuits and all the things that happened. And then we have Bitcoin Cash and all the Bitcoin spinoffs, and there are all sorts of things like that. Then you have Litecoin and you have the Ethereum, and and obviously there's thousands. We can go so far into depth. And you have the fun, meme coins. Then you have things like Doge, and it got even more Main Street attention and traction. And then we get into the Shiba Inu, and you get all of this stuff has driven, interest and passion from all segments of society, from, from younger kids all the way up through big companies and countries involved in the holding, investing in, and belief that this is the new technology, for the next generation. So it's just, but every aspect, every project has had one, component of development and growth. Even the ones that failed, even, the ones that like an FTX, that, stuff like that had to happen, because you have to see the goods and the bads. You can see the bads within people. You could see how politicians and, and large administrations could leverage it and take advantage of it to siphon money. Then you can also go back and kind of track the flow of money. Then you have to look and say, okay, what about, terrorists? What about terrorist states? What about all these whatabouts, right? And then you start seeing it. And that's the growth of the next generation of finance. You have to look at all these different aspects. And if you didn't have it, how are you going to live? I mean, that's what it's all about. And so now we're looking at, who are the key technologies? Think about, as things progress, there are other computer, programs, and then you always you have the PC. Think about the IBM mainframe. If you think about where IBM mainframe originally was, their concept was they wanted to put a dummy terminal in people's homes. Like everybody was going to have access to a dummy terminal. And then that went away. That whole notion went away. Then all of a sudden you had Microsoft, that they came up with a concept of a personal computer. And then it was Apple. Then it was the battle between Apple and Microsoft to see, and then IBM just became a business machine, and nobody was going to have an IBM at home. And then Microsoft said, look, we're just going to develop software. Now there's all of a sudden a business for, computer builders. And all of a sudden now, and little by little, all these aspects of, our past, which would then be where our future was going. Look where we're at, and you have to have the ups and downs to get to where we're at. And that's where we're beyond that now. It's there's still going to be a lot of it, but we're so far deep into it. It's amazing to me to think, what we're talking about with the lawsuit, and think, people thought that was the end all be all, but that was just the beginning. The lawsuit was really just establishing precedent that we're on the right course, and that we can get above and beyond. Who just said the bears? Bradley was saying the bears are real. We can get above and beyond those that are trying to crush the technology, that we're doing it more from a political perspective or a power hold perspective. It's all about power manipulation. They see the direction that we're moving in, that we can start streamlining financial infrastructure, get rid of the fat, get rid of some of the control elements. And if you can take away the manual control elements, which is the personal influence, you remove that, and now all of a sudden look at the direction we're moving in. And so that's the next step. Like, if it's the Fed, but you have to have full transparency, and you have to have transparency, and you have to have trust. And that's what they talk, like the trust line, and so if you have transparency of transaction, then, point A to point B is transparent. And then from transparency, then you have trust. So we can establish trust without all the middlemen, without all the fat, without, all the things that currently go on, which is manipulative or can be manipulated, let's say, for other interests. There could be interest providers that are seeking power, right? And power and influence over whatever it might be. And so this is the direct, we're taking that. It'd take a little bit more time, and they're going to fight back. They've been fighting back. That's why there was a lawsuit for 3-4 years. They tried to crush Ripple because they were fighting back. They tried to destroy Trump because they were fighting back, because they know what that represents. They know the direction the world is moving in. The world loves freedom. The world doesn't like to be, and people at heart, I don't care what country you're in, country to country to country, people end up being exactly the same. They want to take care of their family. They want to raise, good kids. They want to, do well in business or in their job or whatever. And they want to provide a long term. They don't want to be crushed from a political perspective. They don't want to be caught up in endless wars. Everybody wants a common way to get along. Business is always the common way to get along. If you can take business cross borders, simplify it, and get rid of the banking infrastructure that holds you back, and some of the other political aspects that can hold you back from a business transaction perspective, you can establish quick trust lines, and you can establish a seamless flow of money movement. It's everything, man. It's going to be great. Then we're fired up. I have way too many business transactions in the past, and just seeing how things work, that just, you can see where all the problems are. And if we can get rid of all of that internal, if it's point A and point B, there's two people, right? Everything at the end of the day comes down to people, but you have to establish trust. Trust comes from the mechanism. Right now, the two parties have to use the system, and the system is just wrought with all sorts of corruptive behavior on the inside, which is why transaction is so delayed and costs so much. Then, that's it. So we're saying the world does want freedom, but too many are afraid. You're right. Too afraid to unite. And then there's power brokers. There's players out there. They're, trying to establish themselves as power brokers. We see it, right? We see the chaos that has ensued, on a global scale. So, we have to make sure that we see full transparency. And then if we look in our own backyards, so from our own political establishments, holding them accountable, holding them to a if we can imagine, you can put it into an Excel spreadsheet, right? That's basically what it is. I want a fully transparent Excel spreadsheet of everything that you do. I want you to record everything you do. Well, there you go. There's the blockchain. So voting, I want one person, one vote. I want all the different entities plugged in together. So if you go to the DMV or you go, someone dies, it immediately gets recorded into the blockchain. Their vote immediately, gets removed from the voter roll. If you apply for a driver's license in a state, whatever state you came from, you're now removed from that state, and now you're in the new state. And it should happen instantaneously. Right now, there's too many players and too many hands in the game that allow for it to be corrupted, and they want the disorganization is on their side. They want it to be disorganized. They want it to be confusing, because when it's confusing and disorganized, that's where the chaos and corruption and cheating goes on. If everything is very transparent, clear, and rational and follows a consistent flow all the time, then you can't cheat it. It's hard to cheat the system. They always want chaos. Chaos is their friend, and so that's where it's at. So Crypto Mountain Man is saying common sense thinkers with lots of new wealth it is dangerous. It 100% is dangerous. That's where, over periods of time, you see where the regular, everyday person was making huge amounts of wealth. They were doing it in real estate. They were doing it in stock with the .com, and too much money was moving to too many people. And then what happens when they burst the bubble? Did it happen because of the business cycle that burst the bubble, or was there an artificial pinprick that artificially pinpricked or pricked the bubble? So you think about, like, in 2000, it was the lawsuit when they went after Microsoft, and so they went after Microsoft and they sued Microsoft. That was with Al Gore and Bill Clinton. They go after Microsoft because they were putting their browser on every computer, right? It was loaded up on every, and so that was a big deal. So they come after them. That was the impetus that burst the bubble. That .com. Obviously, there was a lot of other reasons as to why it eventually collapsed like that, but that was the catalyst. And then in the real estate, market, what did they do? They pointed fingers at all the real estate brokers, and they said, was the real estate brokers that were creating these programs that put all these, they were just selling, all sorts of mortgages, and it was their fault. But it all tied back to the government. The government had to approve the banks. The banks had to approve the mortgage brokers. Somewhere the money was coming, but at the end of the day, it all came back to the government. They're the ones who had to approve it all. And think about how, under Al Gore, and even before that, like through Jimmy Carter, and then Clinton and Al Gore, and all the things that they were pushing through in terms of, if a bank wouldn't approve risky mortgages to those who couldn't afford it, they wouldn't allow them to expand their bank branches. And that's the only way a bank grows. So there are all these little things, but you could date it back in time to previous administrations. And then the administrations in between didn't do anything to really change it either, right? They just kind of made it worse. Either ignored it, or they made it worse and then allowed it to be totally corrupted. So it's just like one thing after another like that. So Yusuf is saying they like it or not, the whole world is changing. Exactly. And it's happening so fast, Yusuf. It's so impressive, just to see the speed. It's like at a warp speed right now that AI is developing. I mean, it's mind boggling. We use AI all the time, and I can't like, I can't even comprehend at this point how it's functional, how it works. As we pull all these things together, it's just not comprehensible how it can do the things that it's doing at the speed at which it does it, and then remember at the pace it's remembering. I mean, the computer banks are massive, but it's the speed at which it can respond at any level. Have a conversation with ChatGPT in any language, translate it, talk to it. You know, you can set it up. You can talk in one language. It'll repeat it back verbally in another language. And then it'll listen for the other person. I mean, it's just like, and it's instant. It's like a second delay, and then just amazing to me. All right, hey, I'm excited to roll out this new video that we had put together, so I want to get that going. Oh, you know what, before I do that, hang on 1 second. Let me get the, whoops, I'm already on StreamYard. Hang on a second. StreamYard giveaway tool. I forgot to bring this up, so let me get this real quick. There it is. Make sure you guys get your Yetis in. We're lifting the requirement on the Yeti, so everybody has a chance to win. I want to make sure that everyone has a chance to win. I don't see many Yetis in there yet. YETI. Make sure you put the YETI in there. Get your Yeti in. So want to make sure that we get a whole bunch of people in for the Yeti drawing. But let me throw in the video. I think you guys are going to love this video. I like it. I like the song. Unfortunately, Charles isn't here with us tonight. I put in one segment in there just for Charles, but you guys, you'll know when you hear it. Make sure you guys get your Zaman wallet ready as well. But let me throw in. That's right. I said so. Everybody can say Yeti. Everybody. But here we go. This is the Ode to Vinverger. And let me, I'll show you guys the Yeti in question. This is the Yeti in question. This is Vinverger. He is the spirit walker of the clan Spirit Walkers from the Badass Yetis Blue tribe. His name is Vinverger. And this is him here. Obviously, he has a battle wound right there, lost his leg in one of the biggest battles. And this ode to Vinverger is going to talk about his, he's one of the victors of the war between the Badass Yeti Blue tribe and the Badass Yeti White tribe. So let me bring up the song, and here we go. We'll come back and talk more flair and all that good stuff. Here we go.
Are you ready to claim a piece of history of the Blue tribe? Then hear Vinverger of the clan Spirit Walker, victor of the White tribe war. Get your Examan wallet now! The White tribe came, their blizzards roared, frozen armies at our door. But blue hearts burned, the mountains shook, we held the line, the fire we took. Badass Yetis on the chain, through storm and blood, our tribe remains. I am Vinverger, hear my name, of clan Spirit Walker and Blue tribe fame. The White tribe was broken, their crown undone. The war was ended, the Blue tribe won! Obsidian bowl, the battle song. Grab a bag, pour a cup. BadassYetisCoffee.com. Drink it up. So raise your voice for legends true. Jeff and Chip and viewers too. But beware of Charles, the hoarder of lore. He wins the Yetis and comes back for more. One by one they vanish away. Charles has claimed them night and day. On the chain, Badass Yetis, fought for battle, made for legend. Claim your or be forgotten. Badass Yetis on the chain is on the chain.
And there you have it. I don't know how we can Like, continue. There's Charles. I'm glad Charles is there. I was worried you weren't there. Put that whole thing in there. Man, that was a good one. I like that one. I was really happy with that one. That was a hard one to pull together. sounds like an old cowboy legend. That's right. You like the coffee, the Examen wallet. Yeah. Could not get them to pronounce Zaman, but it would have been good. Okay. That was a good one. I like that one. So do that one in the style of Rammstein. There we go. That'll be next. I have to get, we'll put a whole list of ideas together. So all right. So what is next? What's the next one here? All right. We'll play that one more time before we leave, but I want to get into so XRP Seoul 2025. Let's see when this is. September 21st. Man, I can't believe I'm like a month, well, a little over a month. So it was like a month and a half off of being over there in Seoul. I should have, we're tied up, busy. I had one meeting while I was there, but I would have loved to have reached out to the XRP community over in Korea. If I just had a little extra, time over there. Alex, what's going on? What is going on? So let's pull this one up. So this is XRP Seoul, September 21st, 2025. You have COEX Seoul. Some cool things going on. We're honored to welcome Ghostface, Senior Director, Ecosystem Growth at Ripple. And so that is right there, Christina Chan. As the head of funding programs at Ripple, she leads a cross-functional global team that manages a $1 billion XRP fund for builders on the XRP ledger system. With 10 plus years experience in Web3, blockchain, crypto, and fintech, she fosters strategic collaborations and partnerships to grow and strengthen the Web3 ecosystem. So there you go. Keynote, September 20. If you're in Korea or happen to have an opportunity to go to Seoul on September 21st, or make sure you're there before September 21st so you can attend this event. And there you go. It's right there. September 21st, 2025. Exciting stuff. Really, really cool. Again, I wish it would. I should have let him know I was going to be there at the beginning of August. I might have had an opportunity to attend. That would have been great. So let's see what else we have here. This was from the SVP. So there's more on, let me pull this up here. Here we go. Yeah, Sir John, XRP in Korea is always worth more. Man, there's so much excitement over crypto. When we were at the, I can't remember the name of, Chip would know the name of the companies that came out of Korea. When we were at the Wave of Innovation, there were a couple of companies from Korea, and we got to talk to those guys, and they were just the way they explained, the percentage of people over in Korea that were invested in XRP and in blockchain at large, was really impressive. So XRP Seoul, we're honored to welcome Markus Infanger, right? So Markus, SVP of Ripple X at Ripple. So here we go. He leads strategic partnerships, growth, and expansion of the XRP ledger developer ecosystem, bringing 20 plus years of experience in global foreign exchange leadership at top tier financial institution. He bridges the worlds of traditional finance and blockchain innovation. So there you go, Markus Infanger. And so, man, good stuff. The XRP Seoul event is just going to absolutely crush it. It's going to be outstanding over there. So that will be exciting. Real exciting. Let me see what else we got here. Okay. Alex, is this AI, crypto, and new financial system related to don't let's not go down that path. we can get into, you can go and start jumping into some rabbit holes and deep dive. We can go down way outside of the whole crypto conversation. All right, next one up. It's going to kind of blast through some of these really cool articles over here. So Doppler Finance, the deposit cap for the XRP Vault has been removed. You can now deposit more XRP and earn yield plus DP rewards without limits. Use Doppler, earn yield. Another vault. Look at that. Doppler Finance, DP boost for XRP deposits up to the 50 million XRP cap. A 1.3x DP boost will be applied. That's a pretty good number if you think about that. Yet, if you can put 50 million XRP, if you're holding that many, then you can get 1.3 boost applied. You know, you get a little bit of interest, a little bit of yield on your 50 million XRP. You'll be crushing it. Let's see. So there you go. And that is coming from Doppler Finance. I wonder, let me see if I can pull this up. I want to share this with you guys real quick. Let me see what I can come up with. LinkedIn, Doppler Fi. Give me 1 second. I'm going to try to get to their no. Oh, there we go. That's what I was looking for. That wasn't. Doppler Finance. Stop holding, start earning. Earn crypto effortlessly. Built on numbers, driven by users. Stop just holding, start earning with Doppler Vault. Yeah, I haven't really deep dived the Doppler Vault yet, but man, it's these things are interesting to me just to see the type of percentage, right? So XRP Vault APY, you're going to earn 3.3%. Estimated RLUSD Vault, 8.5%. So if you're holding RLUSD, your yield is 8.5. If you're holding XRP there, it's 3.3. Let's see what other products we have here. We can't get into them, so I don't think I can gain access to all of them. Let me see. Maybe. Let's see. Maybe yes. Maybe there we go. All right. And here we go. There's the XRP Vault. There's RLUSD Vault. Pretty basic, you know, easy to use platform. Connect your wallet over here. You got whichever vault, you earn your flare, your not flare, earn your yield. I'm excited about flare. You know, flare to me, you know, I've already risked, you know, too much crypto. I was saying the same thing. You know, even early on, you get some of the centralized platforms, DeFi platforms, but you know, are you in? Like if you're owning your, you know, XRP or an asset is a 3% gain. If there's a high risk of loss of the asset where it could be tied up somewhere else, but if you gain 8.5%, 7 to 10% on RLUSD, it's still money, but is your money safe wherever you're putting it? Can you get it back out? That's always going to be a little bit of the concern until you have one that's protected, you know. Joe, but I want 10%. Deposit 1 million and that's exactly it, right? You can get to that point if you can find 10% and you put 1 million in and 100. That's the game. That's the game right there. Like, how do you get to that point? You know, where are you going to get the 10%? Put it in. Those are good. Those are good numbers. Those are good earnings. And then you're good. You're good for a while. And there you go. There you go. It's a good question. You know, right now, let's see. Who knows where this market goes? You know, right now the market it's dictated by FOMO. I want to say it's dictated by Bitcoin. Is pulling the direction, the momentum of the market. Just, you know, it's a huge part of market share. But let me see. I'm looking up Flare. Why am I on Coin Market Cap instead of CoinGecko? Not sure, but Flare is at 2 cents right now. So where can it go? Who thought Doge was going to go to what was it? 17, 18 cents plus up. You know, it's amazing. Where can it go? What can it hit? Sitting at 2 cents. Can it be 50 cents? Can it be 5? It can definitely be 5 cents if it's at 2 cents. You know, anything's possible. If we look at the movement, you know, if we go to, let's see if we can go to an all-time on Flare, we're at a lower point than it's been up to 4 cents. So we look at a high of almost 5 cents. Can it go back to 5? Yeah, 100%. It can definitely retrace back to 5 at some point. And that wasn't that long ago. But you can see the ups and downs. Utility. It's all about development and utility. Is their project, you know, moving where it's going to go? Does it become the major player that everyone can anticipate that it becomes? And Zober's saying it right. Yeah, there you go. Don't forget, you're still early. All-time high in Flare, I don't think it was $2. Are you talking about Flare? Or are you talking about something else? I'm looking here. I think Flare's max was 4 cents. It's like 4.47. Unless it was in IOU when it was on BitTrue or one of those others, right? So we're getting close. We're getting close to the Yeti. Yes. But there we go. Flare onto Zebek. There's some big players that are coming out, and it's not just XRP. There's so many of them. Awesome. When are we going to create the Bay Yeti coin? That's right, the Badass Yetis. Real use case for NFT and future movies, branding. I'm excited about it. Chip and I have talked about it. We want to get to a point where we can take the NFT on NFTs and move it into a different direction. Big growth, you know, would be awesome. You know, right now we can have tons of fun with it. We have, you know, the other projects, Badass Chimps behind it. Love the music component, the video component. Try to pull it all together. I would love to see a Badass Yetis token. So we got to figure out how we, you know, incorporate that so everyone can have fun with that as well. A lot of cool things that we've talked about, and we're so close. We're so close in this country, in the US, because there's so much stuff in the US that you couldn't do and still can't do without regulatory clarity. Look how they crushed Library. I mean, destroyed that company. It just, they were onto something big, and they just got destroyed, unfortunately, you know. Yeah, so let's see. Flare at $2.50 could be big, man. You imagine. So, you know, in the IOU, it hit big, but sitting at 2 cents now, the fact it could go to 5. But let's look at oh, I'm not sharing my screen. Let's pull up XLM as a good comparative, right? Let's look at Stellar. Where's Stellar sitting right now? 35 cents. Where was it? Where was Stellar in 2017? 5 cents. Where was it through the bulk of 2022, like from its height? Peak, 50 cents. Where did it sit? Oh yeah, 8 cents. It hit some lows. It was back down into those low digits. Now it's back up to, you know, 35 cents, and it topped 50 cents, you know, back in 21. So as an all-time high. But think about these low digits here. Think about where it was in that, you know, sub 1 penny range. It wasn't that long ago, back in 2017. Think about XRP was in that sub penny range. So Flare is kind of sitting where XLM had been for a long time. And Flare had some acknowledgments in the early years of what was possible. Big pullbacks due to market condition, back down into that 0.7, 0.4, kind of sitting exactly, you know, touching on where Flare is. So why not? Flare's got real utility. XLM was just scratching on the surface and, you know, of ideas, you know, and so now real utility kicks in. So where does it go? Where does the whole market and whole industry go? when with everything, you got to be comfortable with the investment that you put money in and it goes to zero and you lose everything. That's a possibility too. But now I think people are a lot smarter, looking specifically for projects with solutions that are solutions to real problems that are developing real utility. This is like the .com era hype. We're kind of still in that phase, because mainstream comes in with Main Street, comes in to invest in crypto. We had all the tech people like, hey, we'll invest in anything crypto. Used to be, hey, I'll invest in anything where the .com is going to boom and make huge amounts of money with zero paper behind it. Like there's zero financials behind a lot of those .coms from that era. And on paper, they're worth millions and millions of dollars. And then they were worthless, down to nothing. So there are a lot of projects out there, a lot of crypto asset that's going to go through that same thing, so it's exciting to me, just to see the whole potential future of this market, where it's going. And we're all sitting here talking about it. Very cool. Very cool. Big concern, but we've got the next 3.5 years. A lot of stuff is going to happen to where crypto is going to be entrenched in the norm or the economic norm by that point. So it's already, the legal framework will be established. The regulatory clarity will be firmly in place by then. I believe 2026 is got to be the pivotal year, because 2026 is a big deal. And like Bradley saying, yeah, JD Vance is pro crypto. So it's good he's pro crypto. A lot of people are, within the administration are pro crypto, but it's all about what they can pass for regulatory clarity. Once it's kind of ingrained into the system, and there's amendments made to certain laws that are on the books. If you think about like the Securities Exchange Act of 1933-34, and all those different facets that were written back in, almost 100 years ago. And then there's some tax code. There was the IRS rule of 1986, and there's a couple of them that are all in and around crypto. But if you go back to Congressman Warren Davidson, you go back to his Token Taxonomy Act from 2018. They put it in front of Congress multiple times when Maxine Waters was the chair of the Financial Services Committee, and it just fell on deaf ears and nothing happened. So 2026 is going to be a pivotal year to entrench regulatory clarity. And then 2027, is going to be even a bigger year. But that's exactly what we're seeing with these big companies with Flare. And there's got to be others behind Flare, but it's all coming to the big institutions. The big institutions have to get on board with it. The crypto exchanges have to be the norm of transacting. The crypto exchanges may be bought out by banks, may not be bought out by banks. The crypto exchange may become a bank because they're going to buy a bank, or they'll buy a major player in banking, to where it's cross all state lines. So, hey, you buy a bank in Wyoming, great. You can do business in Wyoming if they have cross state approval, New York, Florida, wherever, that's awesome. But if you can find a scenario where, let's say, JP Morgan buys Coinbase, or Coinbase buys Bank of America, you guys got, you get the idea of where that goes. Which one comes first? It's going to be big, real big. Swell Conference that's it. That's exactly what it is. Financial institution, big bank. Chip is going to be at Swell this year in November, so he'll be able to report back, which will be really exciting, just to get that. Zed, I'm debating on whether to exchange some of my XRP for Flare. Flare can be, pretty amazing. Chad, unless utility decouples, right? That's another one. So you have to decouple from Bitcoin. Otherwise, the entire trend of the market, everything's always going to follow Bitcoin. At some point, when utility kicks in, it's going to build its own momentum and its own valuation away from Bitcoin. Bitcoin will be its thing. Utility decouples it, because now there's a true use case. There's financial structure behind it. There's more than just kind of FOMO and FUD. that, and speculative investors that are behind it. And right now, the industry has been propped up by speculation, and that's it. So, if we have all the speculative investors that are passionate about the technology and the market direction, that's awesome. But we need the whole thrust of Main Street to get behind it, which will be, which is coming. It's all coming. So, which is very, very cool. All right. We won't get into the geopolitics today. There's more to talk about. I'm glad we talked a lot about Flare, and I talked about the direction things are going. I want to keep talking about Flare. I think Flare has a lot of, again, there's a lot to talk about, a lot to get in. Flare will go to 4 before, probably, probably going to happen. Flare can hit 4 with just a little bit more momentum and excitement in the market. Bitcoin, if Bitcoin goes up over 120, targets a 150 mark, I see that the rest of the trend is moving upwards. Maybe that's where XRP gets to test, $4 or $5 potentially, and you'll probably see Flare and some of the other, players, start hitting some other numbers. But it's going to take that momentum of Bitcoin at this point. I don't think fiat's going away anytime soon. I think, fiat is going to last for a while until you get full stablecoin adoption on a national level. Then fiat continues for a while. I don't see that happening. So HODL the auto is manifesting to get a Yeti. So let's see, we're putting it out into the atmosphere here. So Zed, this is very intense on the chain life. And I have to say you're handling it. Thank you. I appreciate you, Zed. Thank you very much. Thank you for the kind words. All right. I'm going to play. Hang on. Let me look at the thing here. All right. That's good. 17. Let's see if we can get to 20. We're at 17. So, and there's plenty of people watching here. Got 192 between X and YouTube. So the bulk of comments are on YouTube as usual. But let's get some more Yetis in there. Let's get this number up over 20. Right now we're at 17. So we want to have a nice drawing. If you missed the song the first time around, you're getting a second chance to listen to it right now. So let's go. Let's roll it.
Are you ready to claim a piece of history of the Blue Tribe? Then hear Vindravega of the clan Spirit Walker, victor of the White Tribe War. Get your Examan wallet now! The White Tribe came, their blizzards roared, frozen armies at our door. But blue hearts burned, the mountains shook, we held the line, the fire we took. Badass Yetis on the chain, through storm and blood, our tribe remains. I am Vindrigger, hear my name, of clan Spirit Walker and Blue Tribe fame. The White Tribe was broken, their crown undone. The war was ended, the Blue Tribe won! Obsidian bold, the battle song. Grab a bag, pour a cup. BadassYetisCoffee.com. Drink it up. So raise your voice for legends true. Jeff and Chip and viewers too. But beware of Charles, the hoarder of lore. He wins the Yetis and comes back for more. One by one they vanish away. Charles has claimed them night and day. On the chain, Badass Yetis, on for battle, made for legend. Claim your or be forgotten.
Now I'm ready to watch the movie. Chad, do you think I should mention the coffee? Should I bring the coffee up next time? All right. One by one, they vanish. You like that? All right. Here we go. Fiat. There we go, Sir John. There you go. Chad says when people start the whole Flare versus XRP, all I hear is ACDC. All right. And Huddle the Auto is manifesting a Yeti. So here we go. So we got to get that rolling. Let me let's see where we're at with the look at that. We're at 19. Some say it was 19. So here we go. Cool. Let's that Bradley B. That's actually good, real good prediction. Oh, at 4 February. That would crush it, man. End of year 26. You like that one? All right, get your Zaman wallets ready. You know, I actually did that on one of them. We made a song with all the winners. I don't know if I still have it here. I might have deleted it. And we put, let me see. Nope. It was at the bottom. I might have deleted it. Yeah, let's see. This might be it. Let's see.
They gave Chip a mic again.
All right, that's not it. Rise of the Badass Yetis. No. Let me see. I don't think this is it either. No, it was here somewhere. I'm gonna have to dig through. I might have deleted off our platform here. It was good, but I did. So I'll have to find it and I'll play it. But it was great. It was a whole Yeti song. It was a song with every single winner. I went through the list and pulled every name of everyone that won. So I'll make another one. We'll do another one. So it'll be really solid. That'll be a lot of fun. So, all right. Let's go to the drawing. Let's share the screen. Let's get this rolling here. Get some music. Here we go. Sweet. Here we go. Let's roll it. Make sure you have your Zaman wallet ready. Here we go. Look at that. Osman, the big winner of the day. Osman is the big winner of the day. You said it right there. Look at that. Disabled Yeti is yours, man. Is that we got to figure out exactly what happened with why you couldn't claim them. We'll have to go through your Zaman again, and we'll have to make sure we somehow get a Yeti over to you, because every time you're right. Definitely want to make sure you're in the song though, because you're the winner who couldn't claim, even though you were here and provided the Zaman address. Sir John's already saying it's rigged. Come on, there you go. It's already rigged. All right, we got. Oh, wait a minute. All right, let me take this down. Hang on a second. Osman, there you go. Everyone give Osman a follow over on Twitter, or not Twitter, over on X. Let me go over to YouTube real quick. Hang on one second. I have to open this up on YouTube so that I can grab. Our platform doesn't let us copy anything and comment. We do all that stuff. We can't interact with the. Oh, there it is. All right, cool. So let me go to our guy. There he is right there. This is the guy you've won. Badass Yeti, number 497. This is Vinverger. Check out how cool he is. Guy was injured in battle fighting the Badass Yeti. He was in the White Tribe War with the White Tribes, lost a leg, lost a limb. Had an epic song written about him, which is really cool. You can refer to him as Stumpy. That's right. Good luck finding an NFT prosthetic. Tried. Couldn't. I tried to find one. It didn't work. Didn't exist. But all right, hang on one second. Let me document all this. And then I am going to move this bad boy over to you. We'll transfer them. Just got to put it into Sheets real quick. Blue inventory. I have to stop sharing so I can get to my tab. And let's see, scroll. Here we go. Sweet. There we go. Oh, okay. YouTube. Sweet. Okay, hang on. I got to scroll back up. There he is. Got your Zaman wallet. There it is. Number 497. Today is September 7th, 2025. So in case anybody was wondering what year it was. There you are. There's your X. Everyone give Osman a follow over on X. And let me grab your wallet address again. All right. Now let's transfer this bad boy over to you. Going to transfer. See, Zed, when we transfer it, like it happens instantly, you know. So we got to figure yours out so we can get that on track. And let me go into here. Okay, it takes longer to find the app, open the app, thumbprint scan the app, than it does to actually go through the transference process. So now we're going to scan it. Once we scan it, trust slide to accept it, thumbprint scan it, and then that's it. It's verifying. It's already been submitted. It gets submitted, verifying, and gone. That's it. Submitted successfully. You are now the proud owner of Badass Yeti number 497. Belongs to you. And this is your guy right here. So there he is. Badass Yeti 497 Vinverger. And I'm gonna post the song up on the X post. So you guys will see everything up there. And that's it, man. It's exciting stuff. We are going to also begin to mint the song. So every song will be minted as an NFT and we'll ship that off as well. So a lot of cool stuff. Sir John. We'll pretend it's a fair win. We all know you can only do one. Everybody only gets one entry in, and that's it. That's right. You can park anywhere in cyberspace. So if you bring your guy, good parking. Sweet. That was awesome. I think there is a good market for prosthetics in NFT only because of this guy here. So I got to figure out how that's going to work. Charles thinks it's rigged as well. So he had 18 of the 19. That's right. When you say that's it. That's the magic word. Whoever says it's theirs, then somehow it gets in there. It hears you. And all right. But that's all we got for tonight. We'll be back. What Wednesday? Trying to think if today was Saturday or Sunday. Sunday night. Be back Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then again, Saturday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Sunday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we will check you guys out on the next one. And I am out of here. Thank you guys for being here. You guys do a great job in the comments. Love the show. I love reading the comments and how intelligent everybody is on all the feedback. The feedback's amazing. Love it. So, all right, we will check you guys out Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am out of here. There it is. Right.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.
Oh.